Welcome to the 50th episode of the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by my man, Audley Stephenson, aka the Aud Man. Regardless if you're a first-time listener or a long-time supporter, we thank you for being a part of this amazing journey as we continue our goal of helping others live their best audacious life ever. So without any further ado, here is the Aud Man.
Greetings and salutations. What's happened, everybody? You heard it right. This is the 50th episode of the Audacious Living Podcast. It feels great to be here. I'm happy that you're also here to join on the celebration of this very, very cool milestone. And hey, just in case you haven't picked it up yet, I'm excited. And I'm excited that we're here because we continue our ongoing goal of helping you live your best audacious life ever. You know, it's so crazy to think how far we've come since starting the Audacious Living Podcast back in December of last year. It was done during the pandemic. I started this platform because there was a void that I needed to get filled. And since then, it's not only filled this gaping void, but it's grown into something special and of value, not only to myself, but to others as well. And I can tell you from the perspective of a creator, that's exactly the goal, to create something that others find value in. The fact that people can find encouragement and be inspired means the world to me. And I'm both humbled and honored to be able to deliver here on this platform week after week after week. It truly is one of the best feelings in the world. The thing that I'm most proud about, when I think about what I'm most proud about, the fact that everything that the Audacious Living Podcast stands for is legitimately and truly coming from a place of authenticity. I really wouldn't have it any other way. To deliver something that's real, that comes from the right place is just the way to go. And again, I'm just really excited to be able to do this. The ride has been awesome. I'm so incredibly blessed and privileged to have the opportunity to connect with so many brilliant and smart people who are as passionate as I am about making this world a much more audacious place. So yeah, we're here to celebrate. That's what this is all about. That's what we're going to do it in fashion and style, but we're going to do something slightly different on the podcast this week, and where it's going to slightly different in the sense that we're going to stop and pause and look back and reflect. I want to reflect on some of the incredible lessons that we've learned. We've had some powerful dialogues with some absolutely incredible and awesome guests, and they've left so many great lessons and so many great learnings. And so if you think, one of the goals of the podcast is to take what we've learned and pass it on to others and help others. And that's exactly what we're going to do on this episode. I can't think of any better place to start than audaciousness. Audaciousness is the foundation of this podcast, and I have an incredible sense of pride on everything that we've done over the course of the last 50 episodes. Regular followers of the podcast have probably heard this before, but when we started this, I was very unsure of myself and not certain if I wanted to jump back into the realm and start a podcast in the first place, considering that there's lots of them out there. There's lots of our attention's being diverted in all different areas. Why bother? Who's gonna listen? To be completely honest, this podcast almost didn't happen because I was kind of caught up in the midst of this imposter complex thing going on, and I really started to question my own abilities and knowledge. But here's the thing, we've got to forge ahead. We can't let that hold us back, and I didn't allow myself to be held back for these things I'm telling my mind and things I'm saying in my head. So we moved ahead, and let's just say the rest is history. But it's important that I make it clear that this podcast wouldn't have been possible if I wasn't audacious enough and bold enough to make that first step. We spend a lot of time on this podcast talking about audaciousness, right? This is the Audacious Living Podcast.
Well, I'm so pleased to be on this one, Audacious Tell you what, audacious, how do you say it?
Audacious Living Podcast.
Audacious Living Podcast. Oh my goodness, I always want to be audacious.
When you start making those bold, audacious moves, people will notice that because not everybody does that, and it could open doors for somebody else too.
Oh yeah, I think whether you're living, an audacious life or you're living a life fueled by your swagger, the world is a better place for it. Not just for you, but for everyone around you. If we could just, unleash the swagger in every human on the planet, the world would be a place far more creative, far more accepting, far more compassionate, far more fun, and far more badass.
But as you follow the callings of your soul and continually let that to be what it is, it's almost like you move past that fear and you come across this net waiting for you, which is love. Which is more love, which is more illumination, which is more creation, which is your show, right? What you're doing, right? You're connecting with others. That's lifting you.
So I'm reading all these positive posts that you're making and promoting the podcast, and it was just like, yo, I love this. I got to be a part of this. This is amazing. Like,
it's not always easy, but when you just start breaking life down into choices, those bold, audacious choices, because that's all that it is at the end of the day, is a choice to show up. That's when you can have an audacious life, right?
Answering the purpose of the moment, which is the continual perfection of what we have been given in this life to develop. Did you create Audley?
I did not.
No, you didn't, man. None of us. We'd look a lot better if we created ourselves, you know what I mean?
I want to be a guest. I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but I want to be on the show because seeing your smile and seeing your posts and the things that you're saying, it makes you feel good. And then it makes you think or makes you remember. And especially in the times that we're in now, it's very easy to get down and, get lazy, maybe fall behind, get yourself in a rut. So when someone like yourself is just constantly pumping out all this positive energy and positive vibes, it's really good, and it really touches a lot of people and helps a lot of people.
And my goal in life is to live my life in such a way that I can make an extraordinary impact by not doing anything extraordinary, by it just being me being normal for myself.
But I believe in life there are 3 buckets that we always should try and fill.
Okay.
Small consistent actions towards strangers or like one-on-one towards other people, right? Then we have small consistent actions towards the community or humanity as a whole. That'd be something like pick waste. And then the third bucket is small consistent actions to fulfill ourselves. And if we do all 3 of those things, I think we end up building a very meaningful life.
All right, then. All the very best to the Audacious Living Podcast.
You got it.
Audacious Living. Okay, at 83, I'm living audaciously.
You certainly are. Take care, Gene. All the best.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye.
It doesn't matter who you are, how old you are, regardless of your age, you too can be audacious. The other thing that you can be, in spite of your age, is authentic. When you're being authentic and you're being true to yourself, you're being true to who you are, and by standing in your truth, I can tell you that this world is a better place because you do that.
And that's exactly it. And that's really the way to create a better world and influence those around us and help others step into their role. It's because we're not pushing a particular agenda. We're not telling people they should be this or that. That's actually where all the trouble starts. It's being yourself. There's an energy to that, a flavor, that everyone wants. Everyone wants to be themselves. And by carrying yourself in that light, you empower others to find that light within themselves. And again, your truth does not compete with their truth and so forth. And when we have a planet of people who recognize themselves as the center of what is true, then they don't need to feel like they need to fight with others.
I had to change the whole pitch and direction of the book because when I got the book deal, the publishers were asking me to write a book on how did you manifest this great love and relationship, and all of a sudden my whole great love and relationship was blowing up in my face, right? So there was a part of me was like, okay, well, you can go ahead and pretend everything's okay, or you can really stand in your truth and go, wow, I really messed up. Like, I'm advising women how to manifest great love and be in a great relationship. And yet I missed the tsunami, what was hitting my own relationship. And so I had to really stand in that truth and be transparent about that.
Absolutely. We have to take full responsibility for all the choices we've made, good, bad, and the ugly. I think that, when I look back even over my own career, that, some of the choices maybe not so great, some of them for sure fantastic. And I think that rather than berate ourselves, rather than, get focusing on the negative, I think it's just really important to say, okay, now what? Rather than why me, now what? So it's about full responsibility.
Currently in this world, it's a bold and audacious way to live, but we have to be role models, and being yourself is the way to go about it.
Right? But that deviates us from our path, because if you're bold enough to be who you are, just be, right? Have the courage to be, and then it's not as scary. At the end of the day, it's really an illusion, a lot of the fear that gets placed there.
And I said, so what's the acorn principle? He said, you tell me, it's your book. I said, well, the acorn principle is the seed of your potential already lives inside you. So become what you're naturally designed to become, not something else.
And that means that it is about your authentic truth, the things that matter to you, the behaviors that are natural to you, the things that bring you joy, the wisdom that is in your head, the creativity that you may be holding back or afraid to unleash. All of that is what's going to make you magical and special. It does not come from the outside. You are everything.
But for me, the most important thing was I needed to be who I was supposed to be and not allow people to define me.
The fact of the matter is that we are here as creators, Audley. I know that's a part of what you want people to understand. You can create a life that is more fulfilling. But before you create a life that is more fulfilling, or as you're doing it, you must fulfill your purpose as a creation. So you are a creator, but you are a creator after you are a creation.
Well, all right. You see, in the first place, you have to be real to yourself. If you're not real to yourself, then it's not real to nobody else. You see? Right. Yeah, man. Because, you see, enough artists, people love them for the song them sing. Right. You see, people love me for the vibes that me bring. It's two different things. You have to make people love you for you as a person, otherwise as an individual different from the artist.
But I really want to be authentic at the end of the day to who I am, and why that's important is that's what sustains you, right? You continue to keep going because I'm just legitimately and truly being myself, and the fact that people are connecting that's just a blessing to me, because that validates that, this is what it is. This is what you should be doing. Another truth that is a reality to all of us is the fact that we're going to experience some form of adversity, challenge, setback. And our response, or how we deal with it to move forward, is a key contributor to our overall success. Are you going to let it hold you back? Or are you going to let it stop you? Or do you take it to another gear and go get it?
Right? So I want people to know that, yes, at the lowest lows, there is a possibility of having some really high highs after that. But you can't do that if you're not talking about them.
Now you kind of know, like, okay, yeah, all this bad stuff's coming, but it's not over. We're not, out of the fight. We still have some say in what's going on. And I think that's a pretty powerful and cool story to share with people, because you can't control that that's going to happen. It is what it is, but you can control, when it happens. And, that's a pretty good feeling, I think, to get back.
If you take everything that stops you or slows you down and convert it to rocket fuel for your future, you can't be stopped until you're plucked from this planet.
I think that you're so right, and I won't act like there aren't moments or times when you're in the midst of that struggle before you get out of it, that it's not hard, and that there's not tears, and that there's not frustration and anger and all of those emotions, and those days that go by where you may find yourself, or I found myself, where you're just in the thick of it. But it is good, And eventually we'll all get to a place, if you take ownership of it, where you get to the other side and say, man, I needed to go through that.
You know, people often think that they have these instances of pain and they dismiss them. But if I didn't have that pain, if I didn't have that hurt, if I didn't have that shame and guilt, I wouldn't be able to advocate for mental health, for getting equity, for challenges that our people are facing. So it's important parts of the story are the painful parts.
So just going back to your question, Audrey, I strongly believe that if there's any advice, if there's any message I would give to anyone out there, is to endure a little bit more, you know? We're in a generation where we're so quick to give up. The least thing, we want to give up. Someone does something to us, we want to give up. Someone says something we don't like, oh yeah, you're canceled, you know? And instead of us, you know, going on along with this cancel culture and feeling so sensitive about every little thing, how about we build character by, you know, learning how to endure through the challenges that we face and sort of find that lesson out of it, reflect on some of the horrible work environments that I've had to be in. And I ask myself, should I have left? Will I be where I am today? And that's 100% no. Should I have left? Would I have known how to handle the situation? Absolutely not.
So the thing is that we all get it intellectually, because we know that just from our own experience as human beings that growth and progress happen as a result of trying new things. And when you're trying new things and challenging yourself, there's a chance that you'll fail, which means that you're taking a risk. I mean, that's the definition of it, right?
Keep telling everyone, my biggest thing I tell everyone, don't allow anyone to determine your life expectancy. That's like the biggest thing, because when you have a terminal illness like this and you hear all the different physicians, the scientists even, say that you're not going to make this. This is the average life expectancy. And it's like anytime it doesn't matter what country you're in, if you look up glioblastoma, they'll tell you the average life expectancy is 9 to 14 months, right? So I would say don't allow anyone, because I'm still here. It's been a struggle. It's hard. I've been through so much that I didn't even tell you yet. It's so much to go through. But you just have to believe, and that's my thing, just believe.
So, and that's what endurance does. Endurance builds character. Endurance makes you realize that, you know what, if you meet this challenge again in the future, it becomes so useful to you. You become desensitized to it, where you're like, you know what, it's already built my character.
Yeah, you build your resiliency, right?
Absolutely.
That's exactly what it is. I think that, and it's important that we run into these things, and avoiding them doesn't build our, get us stronger. It doesn't help us prepare. It actually weakens us when we don't accept these challenges. So I absolutely agree with you. That's a good point.
We all have issues and challenges that we're going to face at some time, and we don't know when that's going to be. But when it happens, there's two things that can transpire from it. We can own it, and we can find the life lessons that are being silver lining to us inside some completely negative situation. Or we could just let it pass us by and we can keep complaining. It's our lives, we own it.
And if I'm willing to at the very least talk about my experience and let people know, here's what I've done, here's what worked, here's what didn't work. Let me tell you about a time where I just completely crashed and burned, and what I learned from it. Through my example, I'm encouraging people to pursue that for themselves.
One of the best things that we can do to make a difference to others when they're going through tough times is offer encouragement and support. I can tell you firsthand that being on the receiving end of the compassion from someone else when you're struggling is a feeling like no other. And here's the cool thing. Any of us can do it. It's at our disposal and readily available to be given away. But it starts first when we extend our hand to others.
If you give just because, candidly, it feels great to give, and if you can trust that the rest will take care of itself, and it will, lots will come to you. It's just not going to be an agreement, like a tit for tat kind of thing, right? You're going to give in all these different areas, yet things come back to you in ways you never would have expected. And if letting go of that expectation that this time that I'm giving of my time, this time that I'm helping someone out is going to directly result in something for me.
Yet, one of the coolest words on earth. Man, I don't think I can do that. What? I don't think I can do that. What? I don't think I can do that yet. Aha! Game changed. What changed about the game? Well, yet means with the current resources or under these circumstances, or with the knowledge I'm limited by today.
And so hope isn't whimsical. Hope is strategic. Hope is, I believe in myself. I don't know what the path is going to be. I don't know the steps to get there, but I believe that things are going to be okay in the end.
There's so much life after tragedy. There really is. And it's not a stopping point. It's a comma. It's a chapter in your story. It's not the end.
Yeah, so a lot of the times, like oncology nurses are the best, most angels in life, but sometimes they tell you only the negative things. So like, you're gonna have chemo and you're gonna feel like shit and you're gonna blah, 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 blah. So my advice when I talk to these girls before they start treatment is like, this is your story. That all that shit is noise. Write your own ending. Like this is, if you feel good, take advantage of those days and do what you love to do. And if you feel bad, great, like stay in bed. But this is your journey and just do it your way. Because there's all so that's, and I'm very passionate about that, because don't let anyone tell you what to do, really.
Life is completely unpredictable. Life has pivots, life has turns, but life is also really beautiful and worth it. So just as much as possible, lean on the people you love and just continue to try. That's all you can ask for.
There's nothing that says I'm guaranteed another 40 years to keep up this pursuit, which is even more important to every single day. Keep making sure you're taking a few steps forward, because you never know which one's going to be your last. And I don't say that from a morbid point of view or a pessimistic point of view. In fact, it's the exact opposite. I want to make today the best that I'm capable of, because I don't know how many more that I have.
You gotta do it, you know what I'm saying? And like, because it's like, what's the words? You got a story to tell, like, you know what I mean? Write your own story. Don't let the story write it. Don't let somebody else write it for you. And I think I embody that as far as like, look, I'm gonna own my story, and whatever happens, it's gonna be interesting because I tried something. You know what I mean? I didn't just sit back and just look at everything. I just took action. I took action.
Me coming out of the shadows, and anybody who does, and this applies to you as well. There's always people still in the shadows wishing they had the guts to do it. And you are a hero to someone in the world wishes they were as brave as you, no matter what you do.
And this is the one where I think we get tripped up on the most, because the truth of the matter is no one was ever fully ready for anything. And this is your work, Audley, is to help people recognize that they are ready enough. You might not be perfectly ready, because who was ever perfectly ready for anything?
This is for other people, the people that we see on TV. When in New York, people have grown up to people across the street from them who ended up, just started to rap and then being famous. They seen it. Yes. So when they see somebody with talent, not that they know you're gonna make it, but they know there's a chance. So they'll always wish you luck and kind of push you forward. And that energy was very important to really build my self-confidence.
And it took me 10 years to get the lesson, but when somebody else believes in you, when you don't, listen to them, because they see something in you that you don't even see in your own mirror. Right.
We need to go back to really standing in that sense of that presence of each other and saying, you are, like you say, the greatness I see in you is absolutely amazing. And this specifically is what I value in you and appreciate. And this is how you inspire me.
Grow. And Audley, right now, that people are dying at 40 and being buried at 80. Right? And they're existing, not living.
Right.
They're living by default, not by design. The rates of depression are going through the roof. The rates of anxiety going through the roof.
That's powerful. And anybody listening to this, if you're in the midst of a struggle, I hope that you hear that. And just remember, your vision is bigger than your path. That's awesome.
That is such a great tell, I think, for the imposter complex, because the truth, of course, is that life happens in the in-betweens. So when you hear yourself, if I don't knock this out of the park, then I'm a total failure, then you know that you are in the land of the imposter complex.
So I'm a huge advocate for sharing stories. That's why I love podcasts. Shout out to the Audacious Life.
One of the goals of this podcast is to help individuals live their best audacious lives. This is what we talk about, and this is what our goals are. The key to living a more audacious life is knowing that there's always an opportunity to get better. It's really easy to stay comfortable and in your space and not move out of that zone. But if we have a recognition that where I am isn't where I'm meant to stay and that there's room for growth, then that's a great thing. But in order to do that, we have to be patient with ourselves. We have to love ourselves. We need to understand that where we are isn't where we're meant to be. Getting better is a process. It's a journey. It's understanding that it takes a series of small steps to get to our final destination.
Being angry at somebody is like drinking poison and expect the other person to die. So really it's all about self-discovery, self-love, work on yourself, do the work yourself. Because nothing really changes unless we change. And when we change, the world around us changes.
Because it's so easy for us to get stuck where we are and say, I'm not happy with where I am. I'm not happy who I am. I'm not happy with who I'm with. I'm not happy with what I'm doing. And although that certainly is not a great feeling to have, just know that you can start to make little changes to improve every one of those areas the moment you decide to make those changes.
So that whatever I leave this moment with, I leave as a different human being than the one that went into it. You find that road, and there's nothing in this universe that can ever stop you. It's not that you're not going to get angry or frustrated, not that you're not going to get disappointed, feel betrayed. All that's part of what we call, how do I say this? Most of us think like that moment, that person is in the way. Right. No, they're not in the way. They're part of the way. If you can use it, that's the work.
Yeah, my journey has not necessarily been a straight path, and I don't think any of us have a straight path on our journey, but I just recognize the need in our community to really be able to create space for young people to express themselves in a positive way. I was a really angry young person when I was younger. I got into a lot of trouble. I was just like, I got into a lot of trouble. Being so angry, I realized that I had a lot of pain that was festering inside of me. And this pain that was festering inside of me had no way out. And poetry was the only outlet that I was able to do so. Later on basketball, but poetry was that consistent thing.
And, I guess the point that I was making is when I go to small town Ontario, everybody's nice and everybody says hi. Yeah. Right? There's a small part of me that they're thinking like, who's this guy? We got to get to know him. He's new around here. Right? But the point is they're being friendly. That's right. And it makes you feel at ease. That's right. So we need to be friendly with each other. Yeah. Because there's enough weight on our shoulders that we don't need to create an extra burden by not being friendly or audacious with our own people.
There's something called design thinking that I've learned. And design thinking is a human-centered approach to problem solving. It's an opportunity for you to not just say, you know what, there's a problem here, let me fix it with this. It's how about you take some time to really understand the problem, to learn to love the problem, to experience and explore and research how it affects people. So when you create a solution, there's a human-centered approach to what it is you're doing.
And I could look around and I could see people that were getting out of it and those that were staying in it. And I just started becoming a people watcher. Like if there was an award for winning or an award for the best people watcher, like Michael Phelps right here, I would get it. But I watch people and it taught me that, there are people who take ownership of, I can achieve whatever it is that's on my heart. And then there are people who just keep saying, life keeps happening to me.
And knowing that you have the control allows you to be able to make choices that are healthy choices. What's wrong is always available. But when you're conscious, you focus on what's right. You focus on the lessons. how can the universe end up sending you health? If you manifest and you really, really meditate and manifest for health, but you're out of alignment with your diet and your exercise, how can we expect that to happen even if you manifest it? How can we manifest true love if we do not have true love within ourselves? How do we nourish relationship with others if that's what we value, yet we gossip, yet we react instead of responding? It's an invitation to really look at ourselves and say, am I confusing the universe? Because I'm ordering a filet mignon, but then I changed my mind and I said to the waiter, no, wait, no, I want the burger now.
Yeah.
So that's not being in alignment, and that's not being in congruency.
Yeah.
And again, the process of separation and divorce could be such a gift.
It's about what exists on the other side, and that's the person we don't know yet. And that's what I want people. I mean, we've got fear, we've got resources, we've got all these things that have got to come into play. But at the end of the day, what the most important thing we should be concentrating on is the bigger version of ourselves, and get excited and get really curious about that person that exists on the other side, the person that we do not know yet, the bigger version that's of you saying, hurry the hell up, get this done, because I've got some other treasures for you on the other side.
I don't think you can really master it. From my point of view, I don't know that you can even put a flag in the ground and say, I am now fully self-aware.
That's right.
Because I think when you do that, you start to lose awareness. It's kind of like health and fitness. If I say, hey, I'm very fit, but I stop eating well and I stop working out, well, I'm not going to be fit anymore. It's something that takes daily work. But to me, in my own life experience, it's well worth the effort of doing the hard work of becoming self-aware.
So all the times that I failed in life, I use those as obstacles to continue to move forward, because I didn't go back and lose the same way. So if you continue to lose the same way over and over and over, unfortunately, that's your fault, because you're not learning from your mistake. So that's what I did, and that's what I'm still doing to this day. You know what I mean? I'm still learning from my mistakes, and that's how I keep winning every single day, so I can continue to move forward in life.
And once you do that self-reflection and you realize the place where you can forgive yourself, then you have the gift to give to others. Because you can't forgive anybody else if you cannot forgive yourself.
And there you have it. This is 50 episodes of the Audacious Living Podcast is in the books. And I want to thank all of you for joining and celebrating with me on this very special milestone. And now that we've got the celebration stuff out of the way, the focus now is on the next 50. So it doesn't stop here. It doesn't stop. I haven't arrived because we've landed on 50 episodes. This is just the beginning. There's lots of good stuff. There's lots of great things to do. There's lots of sharing. There's lots of learning. There's lots of growth and development. And we're going to continue to do our part, like we've said off the top, and we've said many times, we're going to do our part to help you live your best audacious life ever by sharing and helping you grow. Thanks as always to our listeners, our supporters, and all of our amazing guests. All of you combined have made this podcast extremely special. I want to thank you for your contributions. Now, speaking of our amazing guests, as we close out episode number 50, we leave you with some kind words that many of our past guests have shared with me. And it's great to get that feedback. I say thank you. And to our listeners, until next time, stay safe, be kind, show love to one another, and be audacious.
Oh, so true. You speak the language of courage beautifully. Your insights are just so bullseye. I'm kind of like, wow, this dude really gets it.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're a gem. You're a gem, Audley. Keep up your good work, and I'm sure we'll talk again. And when the foundation here in Southern Oregon opens up, and you can get out here, you'll be my guest.
I look at you, and you people gravitate to you, right? Like you just have that kind of spirit.
The only reason that I agreed to be on your show was because I wanted to add value to you and wanted to add value to your listeners.
You know what? I cherish, though we don't get to see each other, I just, every time I see anything from you, it makes me smile. So know that you have that kind of an impact.
Yeah, you make it so easy. You're a tremendous host and a great interviewer. That was easy.
Exactly. So I just want to commend you for great show, man, and thankful for the opportunity.
You know, you're one of the most engaged. You know, you nod your head so much, you're like right in there. I do a lot of podcasts with really smart, great people, but you're 100% in this conversation.
Absolutely.
Can't tell, but I can see Audley. Audley seems like an incredible man. That smile just lights up a room. So I'm just going to get real with you all really quick.
I noticed those little extraordinary moments that are telling me there's nothing you'd rather be doing in this moment than recording a podcast with me for your amazing listeners. I absolutely can feel that.
First of all, you have like an award-winning smile, right? And your smile alone speaks volumes, and it makes people feel very comfortable, right? And even if you're not getting the response, like if you check your analytics, maybe you're not getting the amount of likes or whatever, people are seeing it, and it's making a difference, man. And as long as you're happy with what you're doing, just keep doing it. Just keep doing it, man.
I feel like I've got a new friend. I'm really, really excited to watch you soar. I know you're going to just keep expanding, and it's glorious to see. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks. How would the person I'd like to be do the things I'm about to do? It's much better when you can see from a higher point of view. How would the person I'd like to be do the things I'm about to do? If you want to build a better world, be a better you.
Awesome.
You know, my man Audley, you know it.
You've been listening to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by Audley Stephenson. If you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, be audacious.